I have missed you all so much. Yo, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to Small Talk Sports, episode 20. I'm sorry I had to make you wait so long for the big 2-0, but enough with that sappy stuff. We're not going to get emotional, okay? We have a lot to talk about. We have a jam-packed episode. We have NFL preseason. It's finally back. It's the greatest time of the year. We have some basketball. The NBA schedule was released yesterday. We have some baseball. We even have soccer talk today. So without further ado, quick intro, let's get right into it. NFL preseason, baby. Yes, NFL preseason. It's the greatest time of the year, mostly because Skip Bayless finally comes out of his coffin and we dust off his cobwebs and he starts making fun of unsuspecting players and teams. I'm just kidding, but not by a lot. Not a huge Skip Bayless fan on this show. But NFL preseason, you get your training camp fights. A lot of those fights are even covered on HBO's Hard Knocks, which I honestly, don't hate me if I don't end up doing this. I'm thinking about doing just a series covering Hard Knocks on HBO. It is the perfect mix of storytelling and sports. They're not getting too into their personal lives, which I appreciate. But it's also not just football, okay? It's a lot. It shows all the moving parts that go into a team. It really reminds me of my first week of college, being in the dorms and having the RAs, the residential advisors, kind of coming up with team building activities and little bonding stuff for your floor. And all these people haven't seen each other in a couple months. Again, different series. We're going to move on to that later. Hopefully, please hold me accountable. I would love to do a Hard Knocks series. The NFL is the best. I'm going off topic. Just watching these preseason games after waiting so long, especially if you're a Raider fan like myself. I'm actually going to see the Raiders play tomorrow against the LA Rams over at SoFi Stadium, which is a nightmare to get to, by the way. I do not live in Inglewood, so making that trip from North Hollywood to Inglewood, parking is super expensive at SoFi. You have to get a little creative with off-site parking and other things of that nature. If you follow me on TikTok, you know I love my parking hacks, all right? So something like that, you got to get a little creative, but that's what we go through because we love preseason over here at Small Talk Sports. Are you going to see your stars every game? No, not at all. But are you going to have a great time because you missed watching professional football? I certainly am. Another reason why preseason is great, that tickets are just a lot cheaper than your primetime regular season games. So we settle for the preseason. It's also on a Saturday when I'm not working, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's kind of zone in on the Raiders here. I'm going to be only talking about them because they are my favorite team, and I love Raider Nation. I've been a fan forever, basically ever since Brett Favre retired. Right when I was getting into football, Brett Favre was towards the end of his career with the Packers. So I got really into him that year. And then when he retired for the first time, I was heartbroken. My dad always reminds me about this story where after Brett Favre retired from the Packers, I had all my Packers stuff, like my Brett Favre jersey, probably like a framed picture, some stuff like that. And I walked over to him and I said, "Dad, I don't want it anymore. I don't want this Brett Favre stuff." And he's like, "Oh, Gabe, come on. He's probably going to unretire and go to the Vikings soon." And he did just that. But at that point, I was kind of learning more about the sport. And I thought, you know what? These players are going to go from team to team. How about I just pick one team and stick with them? Because I was also a huge Peyton Manning fan back in the day. A couple years later, he ended up also leaving to the Denver Broncos. So I thought, you know what? Let's just stick with one team, my dad's favorite team. And at the time, they were the Oakland Raiders. Now they're Las Vegas. We're still sticking with them. I was watching one of my sports casting idols, Emmanuel Acho, on his show Speak. And when the question was brought up if the Raiders will make the playoffs, he laughed. He said, "In which league is this going to happen? In which league are the Raiders going to make the playoffs?" So let me be very clear. I'm going to say this right now in 4K. The Raiders are making the playoffs this year. And I'm going to tell you why. Their defense is better. Their defense has always been an issue. If you've been a Raider fan for the last decade, if you've been a Raider fan for the last 2 decades, you know that their defense is atrocious at times. You have Max Crosby, who's just ready to kill it this year. You finally have a fully healthy Chandler Jones on the offensive side. You have Hunter Renfrow, third in Renfrow. He missed 7 games last year. He's going to be fully healthy, I hope, to lead that offense with Jimmy G, another new face on the offense. I'm a huge Derek Carr fan, as you guys know. I think I have an unreleased podcast about the mistreatment of Derek Carr. That was months ago when it was actually happening, when I was actually starting off this Small Talk Sports. Marcus Peters, 2-time All-Pro selection, 3-time Pro Bowler. He was born in Oakland. He said that he was born to be a Raider, and I can't wait to see what he does on the defensive end because our secondary needs help. Again, if you've been a Raider fan for the last decade or two, you know that our secondary always seems to need some extra help. A question mark for the Raiders that should definitely be an exclamation point is Josh Jacobs. I am pro Josh Jacobs. I am pro running back. Derrick Henry has been speaking out about how the running back position is honestly, it's been disgraced lately. And owners are just taking them for granted. Running backs are the most valuable position on the offense, right behind the quarterback. You can quote me on that. I think the left tackle is a close third. And I agree with it. I agree with Derrick Henry. But back to Josh Jacobs. There's no reason that the Raiders should not be giving this man his money. If we look back a couple of years, Khalil Mack fumbled the bag. He left to the Bears. If we look back about a year and a half later, Amari Cooper, same thing. Raiders didn't want to pay him. So Raider Nation, do not trade Josh Jacobs. You have another potential Hall of Famer on your hands. I know that it's a little early to say that. He's had 2 Pro Bowls, 40 touchdowns, over 4,700 yards, and he just led the league, the entire league, in rushing yards last year. Not Derrick Henry, not Alvin Kamara, not Nick Chubb. It was Josh Jacobs. He was tied for 3rd in rushing touchdowns last year, and I can't help but think about the nightmares I still get about our Raiders team when we had Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper, and a near MVP Derek Carr. Yes, quote me on that. A near MVP Derek Carr, who snapped his ankle in the last game of the regular season. And obviously, Connor Cook was not enough to get it done in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Texans, although it was closer than we all thought. All of this to support my point that the Raiders are going to the playoffs this year. Another team that's going to the playoffs this year is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's talk about them. I wish August could last forever for the Dodgers because they are 15-1 in the month of August. They have 11 straight wins. I was at the game last night, the Austin Barnes game. It was a 1-0 win. Austin Barnes got his first home run of the year. It was perfect timing for him. That was the lone run of the game. They're up 11 games in the NL West. They're running away with it. It's my favorite time of year. I love in the beginning when you never know. Oh, are the Padres going to step up? Are the Giants going to dethrone? No, it's always going to be the Dodgers atop of the NL West. The bullpen has really stepped up. They've allowed 2 or fewer runs in 8 of the 11 wins on this crazy win streak in August. The collective ERA of the starting pitchers is only 2.17. It's actually probably a little less. Lance Lynn didn't allow any runs last night. Lance Lynn is another example of these trade deadline guys. So he has not lost the game in a Dodger uniform yet. Obviously got the no decision yesterday, but still 7 scoreless innings. But this team is phenomenal, especially since this trade deadline. Also bringing back former Dodgers to help the team. That's one of the smartest things I think you can do. Kike Hernandez and Joe Kelly are 2 examples of guys that just, they were successful in Dodger uniforms, but still, I want to say, have a lot left to prove. Kike Hernandez has been saying how his last year as a Dodger, he didn't get to play in front of any fans. So it's nice that he doesn't owe us anything. He's given us the world, but it's nice to see him talking about, yeah, I want to kind of give the fans at least one more season of greatness. And I respect that so much. Joe Kelly, as we know, he's a dog. He's my big dog. I'm so happy he's back with the Dodgers. I'm going to go to his bobblehead night. I have tickets to that game in a couple months. That's besides the point. They are steamrolling this league, and they're only getting better, it seems like, since that trade deadline. I know a lot of people are disappointed. I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed that we didn't do more. I wanted to see some big moves. I want to see some big splashes. I'm not going to lie about that. And we kind of just made smaller moves, but we brought back the right people. I should have been more trusting in this front office. They know exactly what they're doing. They knew exactly what they needed to do. And how am I going to talk about Dodgers moves without saying that they're just setting up all the pieces, they're leaving all the breadcrumbs to get Shohei Ohtani in a Dodgers uniform next year? I had to say it. I'm sorry about that. Dodgers have been the best since the trade deadline, but another LA team that was the best since their collective trade deadline is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers schedule has been released, and I got to talk about something horrible that Bleacher Report said. Okay, that's clickbaity, not really horrible, but Bleacher Report said that the Lakers are going to go 48-34. Their odds, their line is over under 47.5 games. Give me the over. All right, give me the over of 47.5, 100%. I see the Lakers getting like between 50, 53 54 wins even. I think we have a really solid team. Unfortunately, in my eyes, this is the final year of the LeBron James championship window. I think it slams shut after this year, mostly because no one knows where he's going. I don't think he's going to be a Laker, not like this upcoming year, but the year after. I think he leaves. I would love if LeBron could get us one more title before he leaves the team, but assuming we're all healthy, this 50-54 wins ballpark, I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, I think it's going to happen. I'm a little biased as a Laker fan. They're my favorite team. But when you look at the surrounding guys that aren't LeBron, AD, I feel like every time I open Instagram, I see him doing insane workouts and just crazy lifting in the Lakers practice facility over in El Segundo. AD's been putting in work. He's getting huge. Austin Reeves looks amazing playing for Team USA, and he's got his own signature shoes. So I guess shout out to Big Austin. And Max Christie, same thing. I talked about this with Noah a little bit. I'm expecting him to have the biggest jump for the Lakers. I think expecting is the wrong word. I need him to have the biggest jump. For his sake and my own, I think that him just kind of having that big step up that we're all waiting for. There's obviously a lot of pressure being on the Lakers to fulfill your duties and to produce. But I think Max Christie's the guy to do it. Obviously looked great in the G League last year when he was playing. I am so blessed that I got so many opportunities to watch Max Christie play. A quick correction from that conversation with Noah. I said Cole Swider is also going to take a big step up, which could be true, but he signed a deal with the Miami Heat. So he will not be stepping up for us, but obviously I wish Cole Swider the best. I wish him the best. I want him to succeed in whatever uniform he is in. Yes, Cole Swider is gone to Miami, but that's only the second biggest name in Miami sports right now. I'm talking about Leo Messi. All right, let's jump into it. Messi Mania has arrived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is where Inter Miami CF plays. And what a man. All right, what a man Messi is. He's a legend. Ever since December, when he led this improbable Argentina World Cup run, I was following it every step of the way. I like to think that I was their good luck charm. This was probably the most invested I've ever been in soccer up until that point. So to see him coming to the MLS and getting to watch him on American time zones, it's really just a blessing. I made a TikTok about him, his debut with Miami. I don't know how you haven't heard by now, but it was a storybook ending, tie game going into the equivalent of late in the fourth quarter. But after 90 minutes, the refs kind of think, there's been about 5 minutes of stoppage time. There's been about 6 or 7 minutes. Let's add it. In the 94th minute, Messi scored just the most ludicrous free kick you've ever seen. It was perfect. David Beckham, part owner of the team, he looked so proud. LeBron was at the game. Everyone was at the game. I literally purchased the Apple TV add-on so I can watch MLS now. And I was almost in tears. I'm sitting there with my Moscato watching the game. It was just a sight to see. He's a legend. I'm not. A lot of fans have, and this is true. A lot of fans are upset that ESPN and Bleacher Report and all the big sporting outlets just post about Messi and you guys are riding the Messi train, okay? Like you guys are posting about him way too much, but like it's so deserved. I'll be honest, I love LeBron. Sometimes he'll make a layup and ESPN is like, "Did you see that?" with a bunch of emojis. But Messi is a legend. He's the greatest men's athlete in the world. I would even say of all time. I think Messi is the greatest of all time. I said that in my TikTok. I'll say it right here again. Especially his contributions to the sport and his legacy after he's done in the MLS, especially with Miami and the culture of soccer in America. A couple years before North America hosts the World Cup, but Messi's influence on the league and the sport itself are huge. But his influence on Inter Miami, now they were the worst team in the league before he got there. I was not following them before they got there, but from what I've been told and researched, Miami was the worst team in the MLS pre-Messi. They had 22 goals in 22 matches, which doesn't sound great. I'm, again, not a huge soccer guy yet, but 22 goals in 22 matches and only 5 wins in those 22 matches. I can safely say that that is bad. That is not good. That doesn't sound like a winning team to me. But then they get Messi, they get Sergio Busquets, they get Jordi Alba, and they even have a new manager, Tata Martino, and they've gone 6-0 with this core, with this team. Messi in those 6 games has 9 goals. It's crazy. And everywhere he goes around the country, every stadium, it's like the Taylor Swift tour. I apologize if you're a Taylor Swift and a Messi fan, you will not have money after this summer. For example, tickets are like $800 when Messi comes to LA and they play LAFC. I think it's like $800. It's probably gone up since recording this video and screenshotting it and putting it right next to me. So what I'm doing is I ran the numbers. It will literally be cheaper to go with my girlfriend to Miami to watch Messi play a home game. Go there on my weekend, come back, work the next day. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to see Messi play in Miami. I can't wait. He's a legend. Like, in my opinion, this is like watching Michael Jordan play basketball with Muhammad Ali and Michael Phelps on the court. You know what I'm trying to say. He's the greatest. I can't wait to watch him. I'm going to get there early because he loves to score goals in the first 5 minutes, but also no pressure because he also loves scoring these insane game-winning goals. Even if I get there and he plays 10 minutes, doesn't do anything, and then goes back to the bench. Just seeing him on a field, that's going to be beautiful. I will be crying. I'll bring my phone, of course, to film stuff, get you guys some content of that game. But it is going to be such a nice weekend in Miami. And it's Miami, too. I don't know why Messi would have thought about this. But imagine if he went to the Cincinnati MLS team. They're actually good, so there would have been reason behind it. But imagine if all of this was like, all right, here I go to Cincinnati. No tea, no shade. But Cincinnati is not as good a city as Miami. I think we can all agree on that, right? Hopefully. I don't know. Let's do a quick Sparks talk before we end this episode. All right, welcome back to Sparks Talk. I just want to talk a little bit about how great the Sparks have been this year. They're currently on a 3-game win streak. Nneka Ogwumike, she's averaging just about 20 points per game, 9 rebounds, and she's doing this on 51% shooting. The Sparks are currently 12-18 and just outside of that 8th and final playoff spot. I believe they're tied with Chicago for it, but there's 10 games left. This is the home stretch. This is where it counts. This is where we make this huge playoff run. We take on the defending champs tomorrow. That's going to be a little interesting. But if there's any team that can get it done when it all seems improbable, the Sparks are going to give the Aces a run for their money. And if they don't, well, I certainly hope that they do. Jordan Canada has also been stepping up. She had an insane game winner. I feel like things are clicking at the right time for the Sparks. But again, 10 more games, lock in. Let's do it. Sparks Talk. Here we go. Before we end today's episode, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. In the last 6 days, we've gained just over 1,200 followers on TikTok, and I'm in disbelief. I'm in shock. I get up for work every day, and at like 5 a.m., I'm scrolling through. I'm like, oh my God, people are really liking this content, and I can't thank you guys enough for everything, for the rise, for the grind. It makes me want to dust off that camera and tripod with Harry, get right in here and produce and keep getting things out to you guys, because I love it. I love just talking about sports and filming it and uploading it. But I love live sporting events. I love watching sports on TV, and to be able to talk about it and share it with you guys and for people to enjoy it, it's a dream come true. 20 episodes in, job's not finished. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep grinding. I've been feeling so lucky and so blessed this week, and it's all to you guys. It's all to you watching or listening right now. So thank you so much. I only want to make better videos, better TikToks, better voice recordings for our audio only listeners. Again, shout out to you guys. But thank you so much. That's about it for me. If you made it this far in the video, that means you liked something, right? I hope so. So consider following me on TikTok. Join that huge boom. Join that big wave that's currently rocking my whole reality right now. I post a lot of like live sporting coverage there. So if you enjoyed listening to me talk, you're going to love the TikToks even more. That's about it. I can't stop saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you guys for episode 21. Small Talk Sports.